Day one, we had the calls.
Honestly, that's the reason that I bought versus build.
It's funny that you bring that up as well, too, about using the supply houses for information because it flows there.
The counter hears everything. So it's always a great networking spot if you are ever interested in understanding more about a business you're buying.
Yeah, especially if one owes a lot of money, too.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome back to JackQuisitions. Today we have another friend on the podcast, Jeff Bates. Jeff is an awesome operator who is up in Michigan. Jeff, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Just loving it up here in this tremendously hot heat. Service calls. I mean, I'm glad to be out of a van for a couple days.
Yeah. I mean, I think John's actually up there right now too. I don't know if you've talked to him. He's vacationing though. He's not getting to enjoy the running service calls in the heat as you are.
Yeah, you see that picture of my little vacation I got to go on with the smashed condenser?
I did see that. That was pretty funny.
That was a lovely way to start out the weekend.
How good did that feel though? Like, if you can fix your own unit and your wife or your girlfriend or whoever at the time is like, hey, we don't have AC and they're freaking out because it's 90. You kind of feel like a superhero getting it back up and running, no?
So you don't even know. We got there the night before, pitch black, AC won't come on, just off the top of my head, the condenser fan motor's bad. I have zero tools, didn't bring anything, so we have like a hodgepodge of stuff. I get up early, I start calling around local supply houses. Nobody even has this fan motor. You can't even do a universal, this thing's so old. So I just happened to see that it was like stuck, and I just pulled it all apart and started to bend and everything. And boy, did I feel like the superhero after that. My father-in-law was so happy.
Oh, I bet.
God, he's like, am I coming up there with a new AC unit or what?
Too funny. Sweet. So Jeff, speaking of AC, so you guys in the last 3 years have bought 2 AC companies, correct?
Yep.
Do you guys do any plumbing or just AC?
Just AC. Plumbing is on the horizon for sure.
HVAC, electrical, or any electrical or fireplaces?
No, no fireplaces, even though Hurside gets the calls for it all the time.
Well, start us from the beginning. Like, how did you get into this and why HVAC? And talk about a little bit about your first acquisition, where it came from. If you're looking to buy or sell an HVAC or plumbing company, you need the best, not some generalist who just sold a Subway franchise last week, but you need the absolute GOAT of HVAC and plumbing M&A. And that's why I work with Patrick Lang at Business Modification Group. Patrick has sold more HVAC and plumbing businesses than anyone I know. He knows the buyers, he knows what the company is worth, and he knows how to get deals across the finish line. If you're an owner thinking about selling or you're a buyer looking for your next deal, Patrick is the guy to go to. You want him in your corner, click the link below or head on over to businessmodificationgroup.com/JQ and get on his newsletter for exclusive deals or sign up for a free deal review and see what a business is worth.
So, real quick, I've been in HVAC since early 2000s. I worked for Lennox International for the most part of my career, and we did commercial. It was all commercial, retail, big box stores, whatnot. And then my business partner was the director of finance for Lennox International. So he started kind of mentoring me, and over the years got the idea of let's do this ourselves, So right before COVID, I switched gears, started working for my father-in-law's trucking business. I just was done with Lennox, wanted something new. I really got a crash course in business more than anything else for a couple of years doing that. I mean, I thought I knew a lot of business with Lennox, but that really was, okay, now you got to pay payroll and where's the money coming from and all that good stuff. So
yeah.
During that time, my business partner, Joe, he started looking for companies and whatnot. He actually quit and for a full year started searching out companies and whatnot. And we kept coming to this one, RNL Heating and Cooling, which we have now. And coincidentally, it's 2 miles away from my father-in-law's trucking business. So I would pass it all the time. I'd see it and whatnot. So we ended up getting that in late 2022. Got a hell of a deal on it. We felt, at least. I mean, the real estate came with it. We weren't too, happy about that. And that kind of kept us out of the deal at first, but then we revisited it and had a lot of great things. So
So I know you said you have a partner in this, but with that, did you guys go the SBA 7A route or did you do a different route, like
SBA,
full?
yeah.
And so were you able to then amortize that with the real estate over that 25-year period?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I feel like that's where I missed out a little bit. That has to feel good to know that your cash flow payments are just, or I guess your payments that would normally take out of cash flow are, a quarter of what they would be.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you bought, like me, I also bought in 2022. I had the opportunity for a fixed rate, and my dumbass at the time said, well, I got a lower rate on a variable, lock into a variable. And then the only thing after 2022 that happened was rates increase for the next 3 years.
Yeah, it's, I'm happy but sad at the point, because the actual business itself, the real estate part of it, is they built on 4 different sections of this thing. So when you walk around the office, it's just so much wasted space, and it doesn't even make sense. So ideally, it's on a main road, so there is a big customer presence. I mean, we like that. But if I had my pick, it'd be in an industrial, back tucked away, something like that, with one or two offices, and then a larger, warehouse. So
I was actually looking at it prior, and I noticed it was kind of in a residential zone. Has a benefit in itself, though, right? From like a marketing presence, not just people driving by, but also SEO.
Yeah.
Right? Because of its location, it's going to pick the customers that are closest around, which are residents. There's more residents in a 1-3-5 mile radius.
Yeah.
Do you find that to be true, that a lot of your residents are coming?
Yeah, I mean, at first, you think you know everything doing this, and this is that's how I'm going to market and whatnot. But as you start to learn and implement everything in, and bounce things and hire people and whatnot, right away it's like, wow, this place is great for that. All the customers around and everything like that, the presence that we have. I mean, they've known us for 40 years now, so. And that's all they say, oh, we've seen your trucks, or oh, we've seen the building, constantly. So that's the great thing about tracking everything too, with all the phone numbers and whatnot through Service Titan, is, your legacy customers and ones that just seen the sign.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's the reason that I bought versus built, was what you just said, right? Day one, hour one, you had brand, you had people calling in, you had legacy customers. You're not trying to build from the ground up and compete against RNL. You just own that area. And so it comes with its own challenges, but at least with a buy perspective, it's a little bit more costly. But at the same time, you get that opportunity right out the gate.
Right away. Right. I mean, day one, we had the calls, and, I think the biggest step for us that we've seen about 4 months later was we relogoed all the trucks. And I had one done out of the I think 6 vans we had at the time. I had only one done. And we got a call from a customer that day. It's like, oh, I see your trucks all the time. The new logo's great. And like, yeah, there's only one, but great. Yeah, thanks. Cool.
That's pretty cool. And so since then, right, you said that you own a second one, a second HVAC company that you purchased. How did that come about? Was it just because you were in industry? Were you continuing to look? Is it a nearby competitor? Like, talk a little bit about that for me.
So that's been the goal, is every year, a tuck in, add on, whatnot. So we went through quite a process through some other businesses we can talk on later, because those are some fun stories.
Yeah, of course.
Hurside actually came to us through a broker that he had dealt with for years before. He had kind of put us on that. And it was actually where my career started with Lennox, and where my in-laws were actually lived with them for a year while my house was being built, right in this Madison Heights area. So it was my stomping grounds. I knew the area. I knew a lot of the customers around there and whatnot too. So that one was like, okay, we got to jump on this. Like, this is a great area. It's heavy business flow all the time, a lot of older homes and whatnot. And then as well as up and coming. I mean, it's just a great branch for it. So they put that on our plate. And the broker was not shy about, kind of putting us at the end of the line after I sent him my story of, hey, this one's, near and dear, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he didn't care about that. So there was a little bit of a process in, doing the phone conversation and whatnot with the owner, and then meeting with the owner. And he flat out told me right away, he's like, listen, you're a great guy. I've talked to a bunch of people. I just want somebody that's going to take over my business, and take care of it and whatnot. So we we didn't have to buy the property with that one. We're actually leasing it right now. It's kind of, we're coming up to that point right now where we have to decide what we're going to do. We're going to stay there. We're going to find a place, down the street or whatnot, or maybe move to a central location, because both locations are probably about like 30 miles apart from each other. So you're like downriver South Detroit and then North Metro Detroit. So in between, there's a lot of good space to
fill in.
Exactly, and they kind of do their radiuses almost do touch. And there's one city that I want to be in, and that's like where my focus is in right now, is to get right in that middle point, and then things are going to break off. But back to Hurside, it was great until you start to get in, and I think after the deal, you really start to think about, okay, wow, so the name is really screwing us. And I didn't think about it. I mean, I was excited at first, and
of course. And so why was that part of the deal? Was that you were going to keep the legacy brand? Like, what's the reason that you didn't swap it over? Because we've bought 4 now, and all 4 are now rapid response.
Yeah, so we have, and that was the goal right away, but not realizing that. I mean, just real quick, my best friend, his mom, we went and did an AC for her. So the notification came over to her house, like, hey, we're going to be here tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. She calls the main number and she says, oh, I don't have you guys coming out for another couple weeks. What's this, blah, blah, blah. My fireplace. And like, I grabbed the phone right away. I said, Jackie, hey, it's Jeff. No, not. It's RNL Herside, was a part of the business and whatnot, because it popped up. Because we haven't, it's like RNL has merged with Hurside. So she's seen that, assumed that it was a fireplace company. So that just even more made it, you got to think about the name and whatnot, because that building has been on a major road too for many years, and it just has Hurside. When we put up RNL Heating and Cooling, right away, people were, hitting us up, letting us know, great sign, blah, blah. We didn't know that it was heating and cooling. So the name is something to always consider in that marketplace, like what you're doing, because they didn't market for anything at all. They marketed when they were slow, and that was it. They had very little presence within Google and what. I think they had, I don't know, 20 some reviews at the time, maybe.
Yeah. It's super interesting that you bring up that idea of like the name. People don't, because we underthought our name as well in a different way, right? So when I bought Rapid Response, I was like, okay, yeah, Rapid Response, that makes sense. It's we're fast to get to you to fix your AC or your heat.
Yep.
That's an expectation now. Like, it's in our reviews, you see it, that we are going to be faster than the competitor to get to their house, that we are same day service, which when you are doing service makes sense, but still there's like an extra level of expectancy due to the name. And so we actually, I believe that we have to staff up more to be able to run more same day service, because of that expectation. So it's this double-edged sword that we owned with our name as well. Like, hey, you guys are going to be fast.
Yeah.
And so that's super interesting that you guys ran into it too, but in a different way, that people thought you guys were a fireplace company.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I used to drive past that place for like 7 to 8 years, and never once thought, oh, heating and cooling. Because I mean, when you're driving around, naturally, I'm like, oh, there's a rooftop. Oh, there's this, there's that. There's a heating and cooling company. Never once did I ever like think that place was heating and cooling. So
exactly. And I mean, with service and HVAC, you have to. And I think that's a bigger branding thing overall, is making sure that you are doing some sort of marketplace research prior to buying your business.
Yes.
Whether that be just asking customers in the area or people in the area, going downtown, say, hey, have you ever heard of this business? I wish I would have done it too with the distribution warehouses, because I've said it before on here. It's one of my secret hacks is going down to the parts counter and talking and asking about the business, right? You don't disclose anything because you're under NDA, but like asking about, hey, have you heard of these guys? Are they good? We're thinking about using them for a different project or a sub or something like that, where the parts people know. Like they know about the company, or they're like, oh, I thought they were a fireplace company.
Yep. It's very important, but it's funny that you bring that up as well too about using the supply houses for information because it flows there. I mean, if you're looking for a good tech,
Yep.
the great techs are not posting their stuff on Indeed. They're happy where they're at. So if you know a good network of them, supply house people and whatnot, that's the great thing, especially for businesses. I mean, there's one I went and looked at a couple months ago that, they told me, right at the parts counter, hey, you might want to go check this one out. I'm pretty sure. But I mean, and then a couple years ago, my salesman, same thing. Hey, I was going to this place. There's a funny field there. Why don't you go check it out? So networking at that level is huge.
It's the ultimate water cooler because the guys or the technicians, right, they're in trucks all day. So they generally aren't even at the office. They might pick up parts from the office or a unit from the office. But generally, right, where they meet and where they get to talk shop and where they get to interact is always the parts counter. So if they're dealing with financial issues, parts counter. If they're dealing with bad customers, it's the counter. If they're not liking their boss at the time, it's the counter. So the counter hears everything. So it's always a great networking spot if you are ever interested in understanding more about a business you're buying or one that you're potentially looking at.
Yeah, especially if one owes them a lot of money too.
Yeah, exactly.
We found, yeah.
I don't think they're supposed to say, but they might know. They might know a thing or two. They might know some inside scoop. So, I mean, as someone who also looks at a lot of businesses, there's a lot of paths that we go down. I think I was talking with Thomas last week about a business I almost bought that he said yes on and was probably the right decision. I should have bought it, but I never did because it had one big flaw right at the finish line of the owner losing all of the phone numbers and emails on a 40,000 person customer list because they've been in business for 40 years and they lost it. And so the new owner came in and, did a big brain move and just did mailers instead, which I should have thought of. But I was so concentrated on the fact that because it was cheap. It was cheap, 3 million in top line or 2 million top line revenue, really low net, but because he hasn't raised prices since 2008, like the whole nine. Have you ran into some of these businesses as you've been going through and trying to expand through acquisition?
Yeah, you're running into a lot of different things. You got some of the sellers that they don't care. They just want the paycheck. I mean, that's one of the questions up front. What do you want to do? Do you want me to take care of your legacy? Do you want me to take care of your employees? Is it just money? And I had a guy flat out tell me, I just want a check. I could care less about anything else. Just give me the check and I'll go. Other people, they want, they want you to take care of it and whatnot. They want to make sure that you're not private equity. Up here, private equity's got a bad name. I mean, it's just how it's been. They come through. One of the bigger ones came through and just cleaned house on a company. All the techs and whatnot were gone from it. So when you're out there, you're navigating a lot of those questions and whatnot too. But I mean, just trying to pre-qualify, is this the right business for me? I mean, all of them look great, from the outside, but once you get in there and even before you start really doing your due diligence, you got to have, 5-10 questions right off the rip that are like, is this what I want?
Yeah.
Oh, you're 90% new construction. Okay. Well, I'm sorry, you're doing $10 million, but
it's not worth it. Yeah. And so with that, right, you've purchased two. I've been very open. Most of my acquisitions are tuck-ins. They're really small 1 to 2 truck operators because we find that that's the easiest revenue jumps to convert. It sounds like your first one was a pretty big company, or your second acquisition was a pretty big company rivaling the first acquisition. What are you looking for? Are you looking to continue to kind of find those merger types, or are you looking for those small chuck and truck shops? If you like what you heard and want more content like this, head on over to JackQuisitions.com or click the link below to sign up for the weekly newsletter.
So actually, Hurside was smaller than RNL.
Okay.
The nice thing about Hurside was just the area. They were a little bit more commercial than residential. So we've had a good chance of building in the residential in that particular area that it's in. People like spending a lot more money. They like looking at the higher options, so that ticket price is up. But our goal plan is tuck-ins, tuck-ins are easy. They don't have to
Exactly.
deal with anything. You don't got all these, pardon my French, but shit ass trucks and stuff that you get. I mean, that's the worst part about it. You get somebody else's problems when it comes to the trucks, and
Yeah.
what they value on all their equipment and everything like that. It probably was great for them, but it's not what I need. And then you're taking on employees that may or may not want to come to the company.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta weed out right day one. I think I seen it. Was it yesterday or today? The asshole in the company, weeding them out right away. That's been with both of them so far.
Yeah, no asshole policy is a very important policy for anyone listening. Don't work with assholes in your company or out of your company.
No.
It makes your life a lot easier. Just cut them and move. Even if they're the best selling person in the world, no asshole policy. I learned that from Brent Bishorn quite a long time ago. It's just like cut them out. But
you have to. I mean, they're such a thorn. And the first with RNL, we had one, and it was kind of like, okay, let's just let this slide. We'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we clipped him a couple months later. Then with Hurside, day one, the guy showed his true colors. He wanted, a $15 raise. I'm like, hey, let me help you clean your truck out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're not going to be a good fit for you. No. And I mean, it's such a cancer in culture that you'll find that it once you buy, and if you get rid of those people really early, the culture or the cancer doesn't spread throughout the entire culture of the business, because it's so much more difficult to hire when you're dealing with those people. Nobody wants to work with them. They don't do a good job. They cause problems. And so it's just a nightmare. So next steps, is it another tuck-in that you're looking for, or are you going to go secondary vertical?
So definitely tuck-in is on the horizon. I do have one company that I would like to just take over everything they have. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I feel like I reached out to him at the last second, and they're already talking to someone. So he's like, hey, keep my number, check in with me in a couple months. Yeah. And I mean, this was one that I've been really wanting for a while. And it's actually right central to what I was talking about before. It'd be great, but everything happens for a reason. So right now it's been anybody where I can just get, their phone list, your customers. Like, that's all I want for you. And they have to be good ones. And one guy that I was talking to, literally, that's all he had was just a phone list. He had much more. He had, all these duct cleaning machines and all these great things that didn't work, but he valued them as being great. They didn't work. He had a bunch of government contracts that just like, you don't know where they're going to go or anything like that. So when it came down to it, it's like, you got nothing. You really don't have nothing but a phone list, and it's not even a great one. So.
And I want $1 million. That's always the answer. It's always $1 million. They always want to exit, no matter how big the company is. Hey, I do $1 million a year in revenue. I do 200,000 a year in revenue. Doesn't matter. I want $1 million for my business. And I go,
that's the part where it's like,
I get it.
Broker blood, sweat, and tears. You meeting someone, like, because a couple years ago, I reached out to a company. We went about 6 months with them. Mm-hmm. They wanted a higher number. There was a partner. It was such a mess. It was bad. That just, terrible one. And ended up walking away from it. I mean, that was the best thing. And now their door's not even open, for that reason. And for that, it's like with the broker, at least sometimes, I don't want to really deal with the broker. I want to just deal with the buyer direct or the seller directly. But, the broker can sometimes really show them, okay, your business is really not worth $1 million. All right, let's talk about some real numbers here, what you can get away from. So I go back and forth a lot about that particular topic, which one's better to go with,
Probably one of the most important decisions you can make in your ETA journey is which SBA lender you are going to pick. A lender who will be in your corner to get you closed on the deal, as well as set you up for future expansion. That is why we partnered with Alan Peterson from First Internet Bank. He and his team take a how can we approach, as well as I personally know they specialize in home service acquisitions. Mention the show or my handsome bald head and receive a reduced good faith deposit, as well as a detailed deal review and maybe even a buy-side pre-qualification. No strings attached. Head on over to alanfib.com. That's ALANFIB.com HVACLender.com or click the link below to get connected.
Yeah, it's good too that you're only buying in such a small geographical region, so you can actually learn who the good brokers are. Because what I find is there's certain brokers out there that just Hail Mary this whole thing, and they're like, "Hey, I'll try to get you $1 million," and they'll try, and it's the most ridiculous thing that takes a year and a half to close because the owner has to realize after a certain time that the broker's just saying is a yes man. It's just he's not being realistic. The market's not there. It's never going to happen. And on that note of brokers and things that are never going to happen, we have our segment that I'm pretty sure we're going to get sued for trademark infringement on called Hot or Not. So I'm going to share a business here with you on screen, and then I'll talk it through with everybody listening. There's two businesses, both in your region. Can you see this?
Oh, yeah. I'm familiar with these.
We have two businesses. If you know too much about it, do not break your NDA. But we're just going to go really high level, like, hey, we're looking at both of these businesses. They're both on market with a broker. Patrick Lang at Business Modification Group. He does all HVAC businesses across the country.
Yep, we used him with Hurside.
Yeah. Oh, really? That's cool. So Patrick is a good friend of the podcast. He is awesome. We love Patrick. I've worked with him a few times. Never closed, but got very close on a few deals. Usually pretty on point with his assessments and prices. So we have two of them here. The first one is Central Michigan. So I'm guessing that's a little farther away than you would like to be from Detroit.
So I looked at this one. Yeah, definitely. I'm familiar with both of these, actually. The second one, I don't know how much I can talk about if you catch my drift.
Yeah, because I was going to say that's the one you should buy. So I'm only going to actually talk about the second one, and you can tell me hot or not. But the second one... Actually, we'll start with the first one, right? Why not? We have the time, we have the place. So the first one is residential plumbing and HVAC company serving Central Michigan. Asking price $3.5 million, does only $3.25 million in revenue, and cash flows at $612,000. So that is a very steep multiple of essentially a 5.5, 6x, just under 6x. It does 90% residential, 10% commercial, and 20% new construction, which that math doesn't add up to me because it's 120% in business. But hey, I'm not a math guy. I also wonder how much of that new construction is plumbing versus HVAC, because that's what we generally see is like plumbing companies will do a lot more new construction than HVAC companies.
Yeah.
Business is split 30% plumbing, 70% HVAC with no refrigeration. Wonderful. 400 maintenance agreements, a little bit light for being a $3.5 million company, and 3,700 active customers in their database. Also a little light. So we, at 3.5 million, we had about 8,000 customers in our database. Rent, $2,500 a month, blah, blah, blah. Nothing really below. 17 full-time employees is about right for a 3.5. It's a little bit steep, maybe an extra employee or two. Tell me your thoughts.
So right away, when this one popped up, I was very much interested, plumbing especially. I wanted something that did both, but geographically, it doesn't make sense for where we are. So this one is... I don't know.
Let me ask you a question though. If it was geographically in a, just an average spot, a middle-class suburb of Detroit, would you be in on this?
Absolutely.
Really?
I think the price, needs to go down.
Yeah.
For sure. That's, I think the multiples are a little high on this one, but 17 employees, same thing you said, I think that's a little steep, but you never know how many family members are tied into that as well too.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be staying around. So if you can get the price right on this one, I think with the customer base and whatnot, you really could turn this one into something good, so especially me trying to break into plumbing as well too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't actually disagree with you. My only issue with this one is you're going to have to kill 20% of the new construction business because it's probably in plumbing. Maybe they do plumbing and HVAC, but my guess is what you're seeing is that 30% of their plumbing, 20% of the business is probably where that's at.
Yeah.
And it's almost all new construction or remodel work or whatever they're classifying it as, just because like rough and trim out is what it is. And then how that transforms though is it doesn't allow you to create a service business that you want, because when your plumbers are busy, breaking up concrete and waiting to pour concrete in on big jobs, like your cash cycle's screwed up, as well as your capacity is going to be absolute garbage to try and run people on. You can't pull someone off a job site on a new construction job to go install a water heater, I guess is what I'm getting at. Ask me how I know that, Jeff. Which is why we shut down our new construction side.
And same thing. We had to do the same thing. I had to get to that point last year where we were doing one last customer of RNLs, and I finally just told them, listen, I think it's a good idea you guys find someone else, and paying.
Exactly.
Getting paid sucks. Chasing them down for money is not fun.
No, and we almost have zero, like we have a very low rate of people not paying us just because of how we run the business and how careful we are. All of our long-term AR is from construction jobs and plumbing. All of it. If it's over 120 days, we're just trying to figure out, is it even worth it for $1,200 to go after this contractor, So the second company is in Southwest Michigan. So I'm guessing on the other side of South Michigan. So still a decent distance away from you, but $450,000 asking price, revenue of 1.12. So less than 0.5, asking price is less than 0.5 of revenue, and cash flows 100K, which is about 10% net. So not a terribly run business. I mean, it's just a small business with probably trying to grow, decent amount of overhead. Owner, 18-year-old business, 90% residential, 10% commercial. Very standard for what you see, just because you end up getting a little bit of commercial work if you run a good residential business. But the fact that they're not doing remodels and things like that is always a good sign.
Absolutely.
110 change outs in 12 months. I bet you could calculate out some math there to show you how, their percent of service work versus change outs. But 110 doesn't actually sound terrible for a 1 million size business. It's one every 3 days. Most of them are probably in summer.
This one's a good one. I actually thought it was another one that I was looking at.
Look at this though. This is the crazy part. 433 maintenance agreements. What was the other place had 400 with 3.5 million? 400. So this has more maintenance agreements than the 3.25 revenue shop. So they've converted more of their customers over to maintenance agreements, and they have a 2x, almost 3x their customer database of 8,000 active customers. So, I mean, this one, you should buy this one.
If this wasn't west side of the state, which I'm assuming,
I
think I might have inquired about it at one point, but I believe it's west side of state. So you're talking 4 hours away. But if this one was in my neck of the woods, absolutely. Yeah,
this is the most beautiful tuck-in that you could ever see, because you're going to drive an easy 1 million in revenue. You'll convert all of those maintenance agreements over, or at least a high percentage, by giving them free service and doing a very in-depth conversion. They have 8,000 active customers. That's one outbounder to two outbounders calling year round. 9 full-time employees seems fairly heavy for $1 million business.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking owner who does sales, office admin, maybe a CSR, which is 3, 2 to 3 techs, which is pretty heavy for technicians. Maybe 2 technicians could do $1 million in revenue. I've seen 2 technicians do 1.5 million in revenue. So we'll say 3 because it's not run amazingly on that side. You're at 6 employees, and then 2 installers, so a full install crew and an additional helper / shop guy, maybe a bookkeeper. So pretty heavy on the labor side. But if they made it maybe that's why cash flow so low. I don't know, but honestly, I love this as a tuck-in. This is a beautiful business, not a great first business to buy because it's that, essentially sub 1 million range, but the price is right. 450K is about right now, $7,000 a month payment. It doesn't really pay with that cash flow, but owner's paying himself. So, not bad as a tuck-in if you had an SBA loan already, awesome addition to it, easy close, probably 30 to 45 day close. I mean, I think that can even fit under the Express, SBA Express. So I love it. Sorry, I'm not supposed to give my opinion. Jeff, hot or not?
That one's hot for sure. If it was in Detroit Metro, that's hot. I'll take it.
Do you ever have plans of moving out of Detroit Metro, or is that like you're going to try to own the Detroit Metro area first?
So, yes, absolutely. I would love to expand into the Midwest for sure. My business partner, Joe, would love for me to have a satellite branch in Florida. So,
yeah.
Where he lives currently. So a lot of opportunity down there in southern
huge
Florida.
Opportunity in Florida. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, they just do things differently down there too that I wasn't even aware of. But to him, to his point, Michigan was not a sell to him, and I'm like, why? We have the seasons. You don't have the seasons down there. The seasons here, there's a little bit more, that we can offer with that. But
yeah, I think the biggest offer down in Florida, what we see is, right, they have like where in Michigan you probably have a 10 to 12 year, maybe a 13, 14 year, useful life. Florida has like a 6 to 8, 6 year with, and this if it's by the coast, the salt water just eats those units alive. And then you have a long season, right? It's like 8 months, 9 month season. So yeah, you only have one shoulder, which I'm
through there, then you're just doing a whole neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm jealous because realistically, right, you have one shoulder, not two shoulders. And so it feels like it would be so much easier to just run one shoulder. But in terms of like maintenances, it gives us more time, I guess. We have furnaces that people actually use. So there is different opportunity in every spot.
The one thing that I will appreciate about the Midwest is, we don't have a whole lot of crawl spaces. We don't have a whole lot of attics. It's a basement, which is real nice. And then you don't have the snakes and the wildlife all up.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. What I love is, and like I heard the Midwest doesn't have it, but we do a ton of them, are package units. So it's like a love-hate here. We love them because they're easy.
Yeah.
You do see a lot of them too?
We do. Yeah. The res pack units. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I love res pack units, but on the other side of it, it's like they're easier. So that means that handymen try to do them more often. Yep. And so we can get bid out quite often. So it's like a catch-22.
It's a nice install though. That's the best
exactly part. If you can get those installs, you can do 2 to 3 a day with one crew if they're really efficient. So awesome, Jeff. Well, I appreciate it coming on. I know it was last minute for you and you're busy in the middle of summer like we all are, which is awesome. You guys are growing. We're really excited for you.
Record months hitting right now, my man.
It's
great. Yeah.
Oh, you and me both, except record months come with like low efficiencies, which drive me crazy, but that's a whole different topic and time and place to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's an owned and operated hour-and-a-half long discussion about like why my efficiencies drop when we hit record months.
Yeah.
So it drives me crazy. Well, I appreciate it. If you like what you heard, like and subscribe and follow. We just put the new JackQuisitions YouTube channel up. That's going to be solely JackQuisitions. So go over there and follow it if you can. It would mean a lot to me. Not that I will know or not. So I appreciate it. And Jeff, if people want to get a hold of you, ask you about Michigan, HVAC, anything, what is your, I know you're on Twitter. Is there anywhere else that they can find you on Twitter or
I think
LinkedIn?
it's Jeff Bates 29 on Twitter or X or whatever it is, and then obviously what's the owned and operated Facebook page?
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Definitely a great place to be, and get a hold of me on there. I'm very vocal on that page.
That's my favorite as well. I love that page.
Yep.
So sweet. Awesome. So Jeff Bates 29 at X. And if you are interested in learning more about operations and owning businesses and what it's like after the acquisition itself, head on over to, I think it's called Owned and Operated Plumbing, Heating, and Electric or something like that.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's that. And you can find a bunch of us who just nerd out and talk about operations and how to be efficient at HVAC.
Yeah, and
home services.
Get to the breaking 5 million, man. I think trying to get down there, for sure. Again, awesome.
No, it's a good time. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.